It's challenge day.
Welcome back, challengers. It's your man's Darwin Darko, back with another set of dope beats for you to step to. We got 5 on the docket as per usual. Before I get into that, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe. I see the views, I appreciate y'all. I see the comments, appreciate the interaction. But I'm gonna go ahead and need y'all to go ahead and hit that subscribe. All right, hit the subscribe. That's our next mission. Y'all doing the other things, and I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and hit that subscribe. On the first project for review, we got Spill Tab with Angie. This is actually the deluxe version of the project. It was just called Angie, but I came across it when the deluxe dropped, and it added 4 dope tracks, and it's just overall amazing project. Red Leather next with Tahoe. That's how that joint started. It's amazing, beautiful stuff. Gnarls Barkley with Atlanta. That boy CeeLo. That boy CeeLo is just a talented individual, man. He's just still doing it. He's still doing his thing. Shout out to him and Danger Mouse with that project there. In the third spot, we have Eliza, aka Eliza Doolittle, with The Darkening Green. Looking forward to talking a little bit more about that. Then we have on the back end Yebba with her project called Gene. Again, the main focus of this whole endeavor of mine is to share with you what the heck I'm listening to, right? And I'm also interested in what you're listening to. So drop it in the comments. Give me some suggestions on stuff that I should review, stuff that you have been rocking out with for the past year or so. Even this weekend, maybe you came across something that you haven't listened to for a long time. One time I just reviewed Missy's project, just because it was like, dang, I just came across it. I ain't listened to it. I ran that thing back and did a review on it. So just drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think about these projects here, and if you have any suggestions, and we'll do that. And go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate the views. Let's go ahead and run these numbers up. I have some honorable mentions. I have quite a few honorable mentions this time, so I'm gonna try to get through them as fast as possible. But like, there's just so much going on in the world of entertainment, right? Nas kind of pump faked us with this project he just dropped called it's Legend Has It Features Presentation 2025. So I saw this joint in my time in my feed, because I get the new project that drop and I get it fit, and I'm like, oh snap, because Nas is one of my favorite artists. He's probably he's one of my favorite artists, right? Especially one of my favorite rappers. And I was I'm gonna try to jump on anything that he drops. And so it was a little bit of a pump fake. So it turns out what it was is I appreciated it. I still listen to it top to bottom, of course. But this joint is a amalgamation of all the songs that he was featured on during that Legend Has It series run. So during that run, he had project he dropped, and he was in charge of this, and so he dropped projects by Ghostface Killer, Raekwon, Slick Rick, Big L, and the last one was one that was highly anticipated, was the a project with him and DJ Premier called Light Years. So we got all of that 2025. That boy was busy putting it in and producing these things, well, at least executive producing this stuff. And that's dope that he would put that out and give these people. Man, that Raekwon project was so good. It should have been nominated for best rap album. It was that good. It was like one of his best works. And it didn't get as much love. I actually did. I reviewed it. Go back and watch the check out the catalog. I reviewed it because I loved it when it dropped. But like, I didn't see in the zeitgeist a lot of people giving it that much love. But this Nas drop here, it could have been like maybe a YouTube series or something like that, because what he does before every track. So there's actually only 7 tracks, and before every track, he gives like a little bit of like I don't know if somebody was interviewing him or something. That's what I'm saying. It could have been like an interview, a podcast sort of situation. But he gives like this intro to every track. So there's 7 introductions and there's 7 tracks, and each intro gives you some insight into the music making process, a little bit insight on his relationship with the artist. So, like, he's talking about Slick Rick, like he's giving him his flowers on there before he even plays the track that he featured on. I think it's called I think it was called Documents, which was a dope track. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. I might be biased. Anything Nas is going, like I'm gonna run it back. But I really didn't like that Slick Rick project totally, so I didn't review it. But there was a couple of joints on there that was hitting. That Landlord joint I liked because I could relate to that. But I know a lot of people didn't like that Landlord joint on the Slick Rick project. Either way, it was beautiful. Just giving some insight into just like behind the scenes sort of thing. And I appreciated Nas putting that together. And all those tracks that he was on with them, I love those tracks. He even has what is it, the Omerta, right? So he has like an original version of that on the Raekwon project that I think was unreleased. Or it got leaked or something like that, but it's on here. The official recording of it is on here. So I definitely think you should check it out. It's, if you're a big Nas fan, you know what I mean, you just want to get some. It's like getting the director's cut. I say it like that. It's like getting a director's cut. So I appreciate that. All right, next up, an honorable mention: the 98th Academy Awards is going on as we speak, and I'm recording on a Sunday, so today's Sunday, and it's recording on a Sunday. It's happening on Sunday, and keeping an eye out for that. It's part of entertainment, not exactly music, but remember the Grammys. When the Grammys happened, we covered that. We covered the movie soundtracks, right? So there's a little bit of tie in there that my front runner that I think for Best Picture is Sinners. It's going to be Sinners, and Ryan Coogler also for Best Director. Personally, I think he deserves that. But in the stepping outside the music realm, for movies, I think it's gonna be One Battle After Another versus Sinners. It's like neck and neck right now. Now, I've seen all of the movies that were nominated. Let me see here. Yeah, I've seen all of these movies except Marty Supreme, Hamnet, and Sentimental Value. I wanted to see Hamnet. I've heard really great things about Hamnet. I've heard a lot of great things about Marty Supreme too, but I don't know. I think there's like a little bit more hype around that one. I think the whole is it Timothy Chalamet that's on that? But I think that might have been more like hype beast sort of thing than actually the movie itself. I don't know. So, but I'll go watch it. I want to watch as much Oscar movies as I can. I go back and watch past ones as well. I have a movie list that I keep. But I've watched all of these joints. These were some great movies. F1 was a great movie. Underrated. Visuals was amazing on that one. The Secret Agent. I watched that. That was the latest one I watched. It was good. I don't know if it should have been Oscar nominated. It's leaning foreign heavy, so that's probably why I got nominated like that. And based off of a true story, it wasn't as amazing. I don't know if I would have made that an Oscar nom. The Train Dreams. A lot of people hate on that movie. They hate on. It's a pretty boring movie. I'll give you that. It's a pretty boring. But like, and if you're into storytelling and like the movie making process, I appreciate movies that are like they're not really about anything. They're just like focusing on this like person or this event for a specific period of time. And so I appreciate the movie making process there. And they took some risks and how they made it and not really trying to satisfy audiences by creating like just like creating moments of exaggerated existence. We're just like, no, we're just gonna tell a story about this one guy and his time trying to work on in the lumber industry, and that's all it was, right? So I could see a lot of people not enjoying that one. Frankenstein was dope. Frankenstein was really good. Great acting in that joint. It's a version of the storytelling of Frankenstein that like it's very original for a story to be that old. Frankenstein be that old, and for somebody to come up with like a new way to present it, I really appreciate what they did there. One battle after another. Had a lot of controversial stuff going on in that movie. A lot of controversial takes on how different characters are portrayed. But that was overall decent movie. So, but I think out of all of that, Sinners should win it. I saw that joint at least 4 times. I think I saw Sinners at least 4 times. So that's that. So that's the nomination. Like, so for the one category that I want to, I mean, I think Michael B. Jordan should win best actor. The dude played two roles. He played twins, but these twins were distinct characters, not like Jean Claude Van Damme played twins or whatnot. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, it's still Jean Claude Van Damme. Like, no, this is two distinct characters. It's like, man, it's amazing acting that he did. He portrayed there, and both of those characters were compelling. That he played in the same film. So shout out to him. He is grossly underrated as an actor, and this is probably his best performance. I think this is probably his best performance. In both either role would have been his best performance. So I think it'll be testament to him. Hopefully he wins that. Now he won. I think the Actors Award. The Actors Guild has I think they have their own award. Was it the Actors one? It might have been that one. But he won there, and that's usually a foreshadowing of how you're gonna do at the Oscars. It's usually kind of like 80% chance if you win that one, you're gonna win. I think it's the Actors one. If you win that one, you're gonna win the Oscars. So shout out to him. Congratulations in advance. I have my notification set up so that it could send me. Lets me know if he ends up winning that thing if it happens while I'm recording. Although that's gonna be probably a little bit later in the evening. But there's a new category for inaugural cast. It's a casting award. It's a new category, and one battle after another is like pretty heavy on that. But then again, Sinners is too. You got Del Rey. Is it Delroy Lindo? Is amazing in that thing. You have Michael B. Jordan, of course. You have God, what's Sammy? Sammy, I forgot the actor who plays Sammy, but he was great in that thing too. So you have an ensemble cast that does a great job in both these movies. So then you got Leonardo DiCaprio in the other one, but he got his Oscars from that that bear movie where he got attacked by a bear. So he got his Oscar, so they don't necessarily have to feel like they owe him one. But we'll see. It's gonna be tough between the two. But it's historic that Sinners is nominated for 16 noms. That's a record right there. But close behind is One Battle After Another. One battle after the next. One battle after another. What was this joint called again? This joint was called One Battle After Another. They got 13 noms. So hey, it's gonna be a tough battle. So back to how this most relates to our show, because we're focused on music here. The category for best original song is the category in the Oscars. Now the Grammy does score, right? No, the Oscars does score too, but for soundtrack is all I'm thinking. And Sinner's soundtrack was dope, and it was amazing, and it won, and it should have won. And I actually reviewed that joint. Go back and check the catalog, and see what I had to say about that, and give it a listen. Great. Buddy Guy's on there. There's an original Buddy Guy song, and then Buddy Guy ended up dropping a project himself. So amazing stuff that just birthed out of that whole Sinners project. So Sinners has a track on here. I Lied to You. I lied. Miles Canton, is that his name? Miles Clayton, was that his name? I think that might be his name. But it's going up against Golden from that K-pop Demon Hunters film, which was a great animated film. I love animated movies. Awesome film. Watched it a lot, musical, and I love musicals. So it's a combination. I love animation and I love musicals. So it was great. That song Golden, I don't know, bro. It's gonna be tough to beat that joint. It's been on the charts. It's been on the Billboard charts since that movie came out. It is still, I think it's still top 10 on hot, like the Hot 100 type. So I don't know how. It's K-pop. K-pop is already like a crazy wave for the past 10 years. And then they got a movie out that's a K-pop movie, and then with a hit song, because that song is actually a bop. So it's gonna be tough to unseat Golden on. I would love for I Lied to You to win. There, I mean, you got a couple other tracks here. Dear Me from Diane Warren. This movie, Relentless. And then there's Sweet Dreams of Joy. It's from another film. And then of course, and then Train Dreams.
Golden.
Yeah, nah, man, golden. It's golden. It's golden. It's gonna have to be golden. Like you go, if there was a betting market right now, you know what I mean. There probably is on all this stuff. I'm not a betting man, but I'm gonna say golden. Golden's gonna win that thing. Special shout out to. I want to give a special shout out to Best Actress. I'm not gonna go through all the categories, but the Best Actress award, I think, should go to. This lady, her name is Rose Byrne. She played this character Linda in this movie. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Yo, I don't know if I've actor or actress. I don't know if I've seen a better performance by an individual. In damn since in a long time. Low key even better than Michael B. Jordan. It's just so compelling, so emotional, so just gut wrenching. It's a movie I would not recommend. It's a movie I would not, and that's the thing. The Sinners is gonna be way more digestible by more folks. Even though it's a black cast. And Michael B. Jordan does great. Shout out to him and everything like that. But man, if I'm a writer, I write scripts to do this whole thing here. So most of this is me reading from the script, whatnot. I'm not necessarily a performer in terms of presentation and reading a speech or whatnot, or reading a script, but like I can appreciate some good ass writing. And yo, if you are into writing, if you are into character portrayals and development, go watch this film. If you're just a casual, don't leave it alone. Leave it alone. If you're squeamish, leave it alone. If you're squeamish, leave it alone. But if you are in it for the art of the thing, this is probably one of the best performances I've seen in a long time. And I pray that she wins this thing. She is up in some it's a tough category. Tiana Taylor's in this category. There's a lot of popular movies and a lot of bit more like I said, palatable performances on here where people like it leaves you leave this movie feeling bad about just the world, about life, about choices, about maybe some experiences you might have had that you could relate to. Just like it fucks with you. This movie fucks with you. And that's the stuff that I love. I love movies that make me leave that makes you it's the thing that was like the movie, the credits roll and everybody's still sitting down quiet. And you could hear some whimpers sobbing from the far corners of the theater. Credits is rolling. We're not watching the credits. We're just here thinking about what the fuck just happened. What did I just put myself through? I want to watch it again, but I'm not ready. I'm still not ready. I watched that thing a couple of months ago and I'm still not ready. It's that great of a performance. And the decision that the director made to stick with some scenes that was just like, bro, cut away. It's some visceral stuff. So shout out to If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Probably nobody's heard of it. Hardly anybody's heard of it. It's streaming. I watched it. I watched it. It's on streaming. So it's available. It's available out there. Okay. In a little bit of a lighter note, last thing, honorable mention. This is a long ass honorable mention. I know. I get it. But it's tennis. I gotta talk tennis. Indian Wells just ramped up. So this is Sunday. So it's championship Sunday, right? So it's over. the women's final, the men's final has ended. Yannick Sinner defeated Medvedev in straight sets, which was a wild straight sets to think like it actually happened that way because it was he beat him 7-6, 7-6, 7-4. Well, 7-6, 7-6, 7-6, but they're both tiebreakers, right? And so they both went to tiebreakers. So easily Medvedev could have won one of those, right? He's the first one, the second one, but it ended up being straight sets at the end of the day. There's not a lot of people that are gonna beat Alcaraz and Sinner. The last person to do that was Djokovic. The reason I say that is because Medvedev actually beat Sinner yesterday. Yesterday, so imagine trying to beat Alcaraz and then Sinner back to back, same tournament, back to back days. That's tough. That's tough. The only person to ever have done that was Djokovic. He did that one time. The only person to ever beat, and Djokovic was in this joint. He got beat. I think by was it Zverev? Was it Zverev? That I think Zverev might have beaten him. The only person to beat Djokovic, like not beat them, but like if Djokovic, Sinner, and Alcaraz are in the same tournament, the only other person to have ever won that tournament with those three in that same tournament, not to say that he played all of them, but the only other person was him, Medvedev. He used to be he used to be a world number one. This was like 2022. He used to be world number one. He held that joint for like a few months, I think. A few months he held the world number one. I don't think it was consecutive though. But he was world number one. So he's that good. He's that nice. But it's been a while since he's been that nice. He's been like hit or miss, and then he got into like a bunch of antics and stuff like that. He's always complaining. It's always like begging the refs for calls kind of thing, and he's always complaining to the chair umpire. But he actually did that thing. He actually did his thing. He won. He beat both of them to that win. So that's legit. Ain't nobody take nothing away from him. You know what I mean? Well, no. He beat Alcaraz. So that's legit. He beat Alcaraz. Sinner ended up winning the final, but he took him to tiebreakers on both sets. This is Sinner's first time, I think, winning to win Indian Wells, which was it's a tournament in California. So I would love to go check that out. One day. But he joins Djokovic and Federer to complete the hard court superset, winning all 6 ATP Masters 1000s. So he's won. He's done it. All the 1000s that are on hard court, Sinner has done it, and even Alcaraz hasn't done that yet. So shout out to him, the Italian, for winning that. He had a flawless run. He secured the title without dropping a single set throughout the entire tournament. So that boy was in the desert, freaking racking up. Good thing he was racking up those wins early. Not dropping a set means you play 2 sets, you win, you're out of there because it's a best of 3 sets. Because it was hot out there and people were dropping out. People were dropping out because of the heat. People were going struggling because of the heat. And so the less time you spend on court, the better. So shout out to him. On the women's side, Sabalenka won. Sabalenka came in like, bro, that was a close one. She played Rybakina, and man, it's talking about blow for blow. It's like a heavyweight match. And Rybakina's coming off of her win, right? He's coming off of her win in the was it Australian? Was it Australia? I think she might have won Australian. And she's been looking great since then. Been playing great tennis, getting people off the court. You know what I mean? And she almost did it to Sabalenka because she had championship point. Rybakina had championship point on her racket, and it just happens she couldn't close it out. They went to a tiebreak. They went to a freaking tiebreak. So the first set was 6-3 Rybakina. The second set was 6-3 Sabalenka. And then the final set went to a tiebreaker. Yo, talk about neck and neck. And she pulled that thing off. In matter of fact, she pulled that thing off 7-6. So Rybakina got all the way to 6 points. She got all the 6 points. Almost had a chance at that joint. And Sabalenka pulled it off. So shout out to her, because I think this is her first This is her first time winning the Indian Wells. Rebecca won it back in like 2022, probably again 2022 or 2023. So she had already won it. Swiatek won it. Andreeva won it. But she just Sabalenka hasn't had a chance to win it. She just did her thing, man. And I love seeing the progression in Sabalenka's emotional maturity. That's one thing that it's the thing about golf and tennis that like because you're so like it's so like isolating of a space. You're like on a spotlight by yourself out there. At least now tennis has the coaches, but I mean yeah the golfers already always had their caddies with them. But at least in tennis now they allow the coaches to be on the sidelines. You could get some when you get your towel, you get your drink. You can get a little bit of coaching, you know what I mean, a little bit. So they allow that now. I appreciate that because I feel again, tennis is a lot more like boxing than we give it credit for. That's another sport that you got the spotlight on you on the ISO. But she had a lot of historic meltdowns like on court. Like we're not just talking about the stuff off court where she goes like she smashes her racket and she's like she has a bad press conference and she's talking shit, whatnot. But I'm talking about like on court, you could just see her like kind of melt down, and you could just see her get frustrated. She's yelling at her team, you know what I mean? She may be smacking the ball, close to getting like a violation for like, hitting the ball in frustration kind of thing. But she was down. She was down. She was in the, she was in the corner, back against the wall, sort of thing, and she was brush it off, took a breather. I saw her one time. She kind of like casually hit the ball at a like kind of like a play ball, at the ball kid. You know what I mean? Like off of a miss after a miss. Usually that would be something she would like smack and like try to get out of it kind of thing. But like she kind of just was just like, all right, if I lose, I lose. I can accept this. You know what I mean? But I'm just gonna still give my all. She stuck with it. She kept her composure, and look at that. She ended up winning this thing at the end. So shout out to Sabalenka. I've been seeing more and more of her personality the past year or so. She's got she does TikTok and all these kinds of things. There was a while there where I was like, she's more like a robot. She felt like a little bit more like a robot, like a machine, and she didn't show enough of her personality. And tennis is a personality sort of game. There's a lot of that, and because that could get the crowd behind you, and the crowd is behind her now, So I appreciate her evolution and shout out to her, one time for Sabalenka and Sinner. Hey, catching up because Alcaraz has the points lead already in terms of world number one, and Sinner has made a great case to be back at the number one. But hey, keep a lookout for Medvedev because that boy looks like he's getting back to form. All right, let's dig into Angie. This is the deluxe edition of Spill Tab's debut album, Angie. And if you don't know her yet, Spill Tab is Claire Chicha. This is a French-American singer, songwriter, and producer who's been quietly building something real since her 2019 breakout. No hype machine, just good music and word of mouth. Right now, she's riding genuine momentum. The deluxe rollout has come with new visuals, new singles, and live shows that fans are calling her best yet. Case in point, she recently played a sold-out set in LA while recovering from laryngitis. This is the level of commitment that she's bringing to this era. We're calling it the Angie era. Angie is sort of a Angie is like a creative, just like a fictional persona that she creates, like outside of herself, when she's really talking about herself. So it's kind of like I think Beyonce had the Sasha Fierce kind of thing, and so Angie is her version of that, and it gives her the ability to write about herself and write about her experiences with a little bit of distance, being a little bit removed to be able to give her the the leeway to be able to write some of these songs. And the deluxe version, so Angie is the deluxe. The original Angie dropped. It was just called Angie, dropped it back in 2025. I think it was like late 2025. And this is the deluxe joint. It added 4 additional tracks, but it's perfect because it's not just like 4 additional tracks for some sort of like cash grab or anything like that. it's cohesive to the headspace, and it's coherent to what the original project was about, but just a little bit more daring. What makes Spill Tab worth paying attention to is how she thinks about sound. Production isn't an afterthought; it's the whole story. The Angie universe is genre fluid in the best way. I loved this interview she had with yo, shout out to and I'll put some footage here to Danny Brown. Danny Brown has a podcast, and he's interviewing some artists on occasion on there, but he had her on there, and they're just like, for the most part, they're shooting the shit, and he does a great job of like his personality. Danny Brown is just what I love about his music is his personality shines through, and he tells the truth about his story, about his journey, and everything. And he's talking to her about this the making of the music, talking to her about just other stuff in life and what she's going through, and some random questions come up that like, what would she do in some random situation, like she had a clone, for example, right? If you could have a clone, what would you do? Go check out the episode, because his answer is hilarious. His answer is hilarious on that joint. But this universe that she's creating on there, and she explains to him how she is evolving in her creativity. She's evolving in her craftsmanship, and this this project allows her to not just have some escapism, but have some catharsis in this whole thing. So I love that. Go check it out for a little bit more details on that. And one of the questions he asked her was about, what do you feel when people call your projects genre bending? And I thought about it when I was like, hey, that's a good question. Like, how do artists feel about people calling their stuff like that? Now, in general, like, I know in hip hop we have the conversation about, is this real hip hop? Is this true hip hop? Or we call something boom bap, or we call something conscious rap. So these categories, and like sometimes these rappers wear it like a badge of honor, which is something maybe backpack rap. They wear it as sort of a badge of honor, be like, no, this is my lane. I do this sort of thing. And but sometimes it can be limiting. And Angie talks about that. It can be limiting. But she was at least open enough to the idea that I'm going to make the music that I want to make. I'm going to make stuff that sounds good to me, stuff that allows me to express my creative endeavor, my creative, just like just whatever I'm thinking of creatively, wherever I am at, I just need an outlet, a creative outlet is what I'm looking for. And but she understands that like people like me, like Darwin Darko, I'm gonna want to talk about this. So there's music critics, there's industry people, there's A&Rs, and all these other people that like, they're not musicians. I'm not a musician. I'm not a musician by training. I'm not a musician. I'm just a fan, and they want a way to talk about these artists. And part of the language is, here's a particular genre. You label something a particular genre. This is country music. You label that, and now you're having a country conversation. You label something as a soundtrack for a movie. Now you're having this sort of conversation. So like labels kind of matter in that sense of the discussion of digesting the project. So she's like, I get it for them, and if they want to call it genre bending, everything is pretty much pretty much everything is genre bending these days. This is her words, and that's cool. If that's how y'all can describe it when y'all trying to discuss it and break it down. I'm just making music that feels good and sounds good to me. Sometimes it might incorporate some electronica. Sometimes it might like just like folk electronica. Like what? like for those things to match together. Or you'll have like rock rap. We've seen a lot of that recently. And so that's cool. That's cool if you want to do if you needed those kind of labels to kind of be able to discuss it in a coherent way. That's fine. So I love it's almost like a permission structure for what I do here, because I feel like I use the term genre bending a lot because like that's what they're all doing. So I'm onto something. A lot of her stuff could be described as bossa funk, electro clash, R&B, jazz, new wave, ambient folk. So she's a little bit all over the place with the genre. But if you are a person that enjoys music in all its forms, then you'll be okay with. She might take you on one journey, a particular journey. As long as it's coherent and as long as it's intentional, I can appreciate that. You drop an electronic track on on a Jill Scott project that don't make sense. Like she has a drum and bass joint on there, or she has a go-go track on her last project. Jill Scott does. It makes perfect sense the way it falls in, the way the sequencing and it happens. So I love that. Like it was intentional. You do that, you you cool with me. You got a thumbs up for me. She co-produces alongside John Hill on this project. So um she has that input in the music making process, not just the vocals. So it allows her to have her fingerprints all over each track, even from close up mic vocals to intimate textures. Nothing's overproduced. Everything keeps her front and center. The four deluxe editions push into a little bit of a softer, more vulnerable territory, but they're still alt pop. Again, this is another genre bending thing. They blur the edges of all that stuff, and it fits right into to the vibe. So it's great additions to the project. Some tracks for you to wet your palate. Again, you should be doing a full listen for the whole project, but to tippy toe into that thing, wet your toe. Pink Lemonade. This is one is high energy electronic fizz opener that sets the summer adventure tone. Athlete. This is a soft late night confessional that has become a fan favorite for its dreamlike vulnerability. Hold Me is melodic. It's a post breakup anthem that uses a broken down piano to create a haunting ringtone like hook. Romer is one of the deluxe joints on this thing. It's raw. It's edgy track about contemporary aimlessness that perfectly captures her new era, the Angie era, in this whole expansion. It's a vibe. But I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the title track, Angie. Love the lyrics on here. I have you lined up. I have you lined up. She sings it there. I have you lined up. Angie, you're on my mind. And she's talking about myself. She's talking about herself. Angie, you're on my mind. I hate you. I don't. I don't. I don't hate you. But Angie, she's on my mind. Big times. But this time, I'll tell you anything. Make a fool of me. Make a fool of me tonight. Behold by desire. Beholden by desire. Darling, your name. Plays on. Plays on. The back brain. I have you lined up. Angie, you on my mind. I hate you. I don't. I don't. I don't. Angie, she's on my mind. You know, you got to consider yourself. Think about yourself. And even if you need to detach from it for a second to be on the outside looking in, I do that all the time. Thinking about future Darwin, thinking about past Darwin. What would he think about what I'm going through right now, what I'm doing right now, and what am I doing right now to set myself up for success in the future? Or what mistakes am I making currently that my future self is going to pay for? Or what did my past self do that I'm currently paying for now? And so I can understand that detachment. Maybe I'll call that avatar Darwin Darko, right? Well, I'm Darwin Darko, but all these versions of yourself that for you to have perspective, it's all about perspective. It's really what she's talking about this track, and I love that being the title track. It's the title of the album, and it's a dope moment in the project. It comes closer towards the end, but it's not towards the end, so it's a great positioning on the project there. If you need a one-liner about what this thing is all about, maybe think late night city wandering, right? You're just like musing about your experiences, your life, and what's been going on with your day, even. Think quiet streets, neon reflections, that specific mix of restlessness and clarity you get when you're walking somewhere alone and your brain wanders on. What could that be? It sounds like Angie, Angie, Angie. It's experimental without being cold, and emotional, honest without doing too much. The balance is harder to pull off than it sounds, but she does it. Spill Tab does it on this project. Bottom line, this isn't just a deluxe cash grab. It's a fuller picture of an artist who's growing fast and knows exactly what she's doing. Spill Tab is telling her truth track by track. And Angie shows that she's nowhere near done. Nevada-born pop artist Red Leather is in his next chapter. and honestly, it feels earned. His 2023 debut, Reno, quietly became a phenomenon. 300 million streams, 3 million followers, and a fan base that showed up for real, for real. Now he's back with his sophomore project, Tahoe. This dropped back in the 27th of February, and this album is where he stops introducing himself and starts staking his claim. This is no longer a one to watch situation. He's arrived. The album came paired with a full North American and European headline tour. Not a support slot, not a festival run or a headline. This is a headline tour we're talking about. That's the kind of move that tells you an artist knows exactly where they stand. And for the vinyl people, there's actually vinyls dropping on in May. So keep an eye out for that. I think the pre-orders are, you can make pre-orders now. They're going to be shipping out in May 8th. Physical media making a comeback. Vinyls are making a comeback. Who would have thought? But here we are. Either way, this project runs 16 tracks. It's about 48 minutes. A 48-minute listen. After a slow buildup of an opener, the title track, The Hardest Climb there, it ends up being some high energy anthems at the front end, some more reflective material as it goes deeper. That's a real through line that expands throughout the entire project. A few things worth noting about the production is that Red Leather wrote and produced Tahoe himself, from top to bottom, which gives it this cohesive and intentional vibe that a lot of sophomore albums you don't get, from a lot of sophomore records. That matters, and you can hear it. The album avoids that thing that happens when you've got too many cooks in the kitchen because of that sort of a one-man show sort of thing. His sound sits at the intersection of alt-rock textures with Americana influenced by storytelling and atmospheric pop. Think emotional weight, wide open spaces, and production that earns the swells that happen on songs like Wish You Were Here, for example. And the sequencing, it moves like a freaking journey. Opens with momentum, earns the quiet moments, and lands somewhere that feels like resolution rather than something tidy and, nipped and tucked. The last track is literally called Bury Me in Vegas. talk about a resolution. Talk about uh, um, a final resolution to this sort of kind of journey, which is cool because the last project was called Reno. Couple of tracks that you can start with just to see the vibes of what's going on here. Bonnie and Clyde. This is the obvious entry point. It's high energy, immediately infectious, already racking up streams for a reason. SOS. This is the emotional gut punch that happens on the record. It feels urgent, melodically sharp, the kind of song that sticks after one listen. Wish You Were Here. This one is atmospheric, nostalgic. It plays better and better on repeated listens. So you got to run this one back a couple of times before it actually sticks. The Man Behind the Mask. Man Behind the Mask. This is a late album standout. This is going to be the penultimate track on the project. His vocals open up here in a way that reframes reframes the whole project and really focuses more on the vocals. And the thing is, like, the production is just so well done and put together. It's like a whole freaking movie. But this one highlights the vocals a lot more. So I definitely check that one out. A standout track that you gotta that I wish would have, I don't know. It's the fourth track on the project. It's called Last Call. It's a very emotional ride, especially when you know his background. Last call at the bar. I order one more beer. I'm a stranger in the crowd and I'm holding back the tears. One more shot of Jameson, two more bumps at 3 a.m. We're talking about cocaine, right? Before I jump, I think of who I'll miss. I'm too young to die alone. 1,000 miles away from home. One last call before I go. Need you to pick up the phone. Oh, I'm sorry that I called. Oh, I'm sorry that I called, but I just needed to talk. I just need to talk. He's saying, right? I'm at war with myself, and I just need some help. Yeah, I just need some help. I'm standing on the edge, thinking, is this the end? Dear God, I need a friend to catch my fall. Oh, I'm sorry that I called, but I just need to talk. I just need to talk. That line right there, which says, I need a friend to catch my fall, this is a literal event that happened in his life. So Tahoe is, I think he's going on about 3 years sober. I haven't checked. I'm not on his list of accountability partners, but he was a drug addict. And I guess they say if you're a drug addict, you're always a drug addict. You know what I mean? You just how long have you been? Is it on the wagon or off the wagon? Well, either way, he's been sober for a while now, 3 years sober, and there's an interview I listened to with him, where he's recounting this, and this was actually before the Reno Project dropped, or when the Reno Project dropped, and he's talking about how this was literally an event. He was at some party, he didn't know anybody there, and he was just like feeling out of his element, and so he went to he had some anxiety, so he went to the coping mechanism that he's used to, cocaine. So this dude was doing line after line. He said he found himself in the stairwell and was just going up and up and up. And he stopped at a particular landing and he just do another line. And then he kept going up and up and up. And then he found himself at the roof of this building. He's at the roof of this building and he's at his wit's end. He's like, what am I doing? What is this all about? Screw all this. I'm just going to end it all. So he's really thinking of just like jumping. Self-deletion. He has 1% on his phone. Yeah, 1% on your phone. It's pretty much, like being in prison. You get one phone call. So he called his buddy. And shout out to the friends that show up in your most vulnerable moments. They answered. They talked to him and they came and picked him up. He's like, I need a friend to catch my fall. His fall at that point was metaphoric. He was about to be literal with it. But he was in a downward spiral. And that friend showed up for him. So shout out to all those friends that show up. Shout out to those I just watched The Smashing Machine. This is A24. They're gonna get me with every movie. A24, you got my money. Just say it's A24. I'm gonna show up. This was with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and he has a friend that shows up for him when he's at his most vulnerable. This guy ends up, I think he ended up passing out, or he crashed out. He was on drugs, like performance enhancement stuff, painkillers and stuff, and he ended up passing out and being in the hospital. And his friend flew into town to show up for him. He's like, I'm here because I love you. Two men talking about, yo, this is your support system. Tell your brother you love him. Tell your friend you love him, especially men out there. We don't want to say these sorts of things, but like let them know that they matter. And don't let it wait till it's a point where they're nearly about to jump off of a building to do it. Because if you tell them in advance, they had that reinforcing mechanism within themselves because they had this built in because you've been telling them. Because you've been giving them their flowers. You've been showing up for them. So show up for your people when they need you. And if you're the one in need, make that call. He was at 1%. Make that phone call. You never know who's actually going to show up for you. And these are the moments, not that you want to put your people in positions to test them. You're not testing them. But if you're actually going through something, don't feel like you have to go through it alone. This is the portion where I'll go ahead and put in that hotline. I've done it several times on the show. I'll put in a hotline for people to call if you need to. You can, I read every comment. So if you need to put something in the comment, put it in the comment. I'll talk to you. I'll give you, I'll give that conversation. You know what I mean? I'll help you, with another reason to check out my next episode and to be around to be able to check my next drop. I need the subs. I need subscriptions. Go ahead and like and subscribe right now if you need a friend. Holla at your boy. No joke. Real talk. You know what I mean? We all human. We all in this together. There's okay. All right. Fine. I'm gonna have to go here. There's a particular philosophy in life. There's several different philosophies that, about how, the value of this current life versus what the afterlife has to offer. And there's a lot of people out here that are really kind of throwing away, and maybe it's not a self-deletion manner, but like it could be in effort. When like Deadpool says maximum effort and he does the least. They do the least with what's going on with life right now. I don't believe in the afterlife. I don't have evidence of there being anything after this. So if I don't have evidence for it, I have no reason to believe in it. Outside of just faith. But I don't have any evidence for it. So I tend to follow the evidence, right? So somebody would say, well, then if you don't believe in the afterlife, then you just do whatever the hell you want. You just go all crazy and just like, no. I live a good and moral life. I'm a humanitarian. Because I don't believe in the afterlife, it gives me more reason to value this life, value this earth, value this experience that I'm currently having with all of y'all. And I want to share it with y'all as long as we can. We're not immortal. So let's work together. Let's support each other to make this the best life, the best experience that we can while we're here. Why not? So if you're sometimes some of these folks that are like very, very like hell bent is a crazy way is a wild way to put it. But if you're set on like, yo, my reward is in the afterlife, you let a lot of things slide in the current life right now. That's like some fuck shit. It's like you let a lot of stuff slide now because they're gonna get justice in the afterlife. But like, yo, what about giving them justice now? What about doing what is right in the current time? What about making this world that you're here cool? Like, even if you do believe in the afterlife, bro, you're going to be here for like 60, 70 years. How about making those like a good 60, 70 years? Why throw that away? Even if you believe in the afterlife, why just throw that away? And so shout out to Red Leather for reaching out when he needed help. And shout out to his buddy for being available and being there and showing up for the friends in your life. Are you a true friend or you just call yourself that? And he showed it for himself. Together, these tracks, these that I just highlighted here, they map the full emotional arc: defiance, longing, vulnerability, self-reckoning, perfectly. The production doesn't oversell. It's crisp without being sterile, which gives the storytelling room to actually land. This isn't a glow-up story. It's a genuine artist stepping forward. Red Leather sounds confident without sounding like he's trying to prove something. The record is emotionally honest, sonically expansive, and sequenced with real intention. If Tahoe were a moment, I'd say it's like riding through the mountains full throttle at dusk. It's rugged and reflective all at the same time. There's some visuals that he put out for a couple of these tracks that's like really in the back country of, like a snowy mountains kind of thing. And he keeps that theme throughout. It's beautiful stuff that like helps you visualize what he's putting out through the music. Bottom line, Red Leather isn't just proving that he can do it twice. He's proving that the first one wasn't a fluke. Tahoe is confident, it's emotionally honest, and it's built to last beyond a hype cycle. This album is one that will have listeners that are just tuning in for the first time turn into loyalists. So Gnarls Barkley is back, y'all, and apparently they're back for the last time. 18 years after going quiet, CeeLo Green and Danger Mouse have resurfaced with Atlanta. their third studio album, and by their own account, their final one. Nope. I mean, we'll see what happens. No door left cracked open, right? But they've been straight about it. This is the goodbye record, supposedly. What makes it land differently is the intentionality behind it. The lead single Pictures sets the tone immediately. This is like the third track on the project. It's CeeLo's pulling from real memory, specifically the MARTA rides of his Atlanta childhood. It's not a throwaway detail. It tells you exactly what kind of album this is going to be: personal, rooted, and looking inward. For a duo that basically rewrote pop records like with Crazy and then disappeared before anyone could fully process what just happened, Atlanta feels more like a comeback and less like a closing argument. Okay, let's talk about the craft behind the music here, because Atlanta is generally interesting on a sonic level. Shout out to Danger Mouse. Three things worth noting about the production: it's warm in a way that feels intentional, not nostalgic. Danger Mouse is working with organs, choirs, and analog textures throughout. The album has a spiritual quality to it, not in a heavy handed way, but in that quiet, sort of Sunday morning way um, that lets the project and lets the music and lets the production breathe. The arrangements have real cinematic scope. We're talking strings, deep, low end, wide mixes. It sounds like movement, like you've been immersing in this experience, but you're not drowning in it. You're swimming, you're thriving. CeeLo's voice is upfront and centered. It's unguarded. He is not. He's got one of those unconventional voices, and he knows it. And he's unapologetic about it. You can hear his age in this, the breath, the grit, the message. It's all there and clearly left in on purpose. This isn't CeeLo trying to sound like 2006. This isn't Danger Mouse trying to reproduce that magic that they got from Crazy back then. This is a guy in his 40s with something to say, putting it all on wax, and will probably need a cognac and a nap after expending all the energy that's on this thing. There's some high level, high energy stuff on here, like Line Dance, for example, right? Must listen tracks um, to get you started. Pictures. This is the heart of the album. It's dreamy, it's mid tempo, perfectly capturing the feeling of watching the world blur past a train window, for example. It's the ultimate staring into space anthem. Tomorrow Die Today. This is the opener that sets a heavy psychedelic tone. It's a bold choice that tells the listener immediately this isn't radio garbage. This isn't radio made for radio slop. This is an experience. Accept it. This is the final track on the final album, and it's remarkable if it's the final project. This thing is soulful. It's a soaring goodbye that feels earned after 18 years of waiting. Cyberbully is probably my favorite track on this thing. This would probably be the most radio ready track on the project, and I hope somebody picks it up and give it the spins that it deserves, so that maybe people could go then listen to the album, because I want people to listen to the album, listen to the project. This is a sharp modern pivot. This track showcases the duo's ability to tackle contemporary anxieties with that signature weirdness that made them famous. Um, but it's a bop. Damn it. I've been smoking, reminiscing, talking to myself and listening, almost on my 100 million. Why I'm still thinking about killing. Back behind the Iron Curtain dwells a slightly darker person. You listen to the dirty version. A bump or two, my heart stopped working. Mean as fuck, but I'm clean as fuck. Ain't nobody seen him much. My demon, anytime I need him, make sure that I keep in touch. 3-6, we triple teaming up. It's straight. It ain't no leaning cup. It's probably Scotty beaming up. Smoke smelling like that Elon Musk. Yo, this joint goes so hard. I'm gonna blow up my speakers. I'm gonna blow up my speakers. Partly because of the nostalgia part, because there's like a shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony in this thing. First of all, there's a shout out to, like, is that, I'm looking at, I keep refreshing because I know that they're gonna like update the metadata eventually, which they do on these albums. They wait like a week or so. But like, is that Juicy J or not? That's got dope, bro. If that is CeeLo imitating Juicy J, it's so good. It's so good. But like, it kind of makes me like feel some type of way because I'm like, yo, why not get Juicy J on the joint? He is rapping just like, and they even do the yeah ho like that drop. They even got that drop in the track. So I'm like, yo, is Juicy on? Is Jay on this joint? Like, what's up? If not, like CeeLo just like does an imitation of him. It's one thing when like J Cole does that track where it's called What If, where he does like a Biggie and Pac style flow, but you know it's him. You know his voice, it's him. But CeeLo does this rendition of Ju. I'm thinking of CeeLo. I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping that's Juice because it sounds so much like Jay that it's ridiculous. Like, bro, just get him on the track, even if you got to write his verse for him. Which I know, some people feel type of way about that, but like that verse sounds so much like Juicy J and perfect. And they got the drops, the 3-6 Mafia joint. It's clearly 3-6. The style, the flow, the freaking cadence, and everything is just like it's some 3-6 Mafia joint in the drops and everything that's on there. But shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony because they even the chorus on this thing is is specifically from a Bone Thugs and Harmony track where he goes here, respect my mind cause every line is covered in yeah yo baby. That's Bone Thugs. Respect my mind cause every line is covered in yeah yo baby. And then like the other voice comes in like Bone Thugs and Harmony would do with the melody. Represent your city if you keep it a hundo. I mean, I know the lyrics say 100, but I think he's really saying a hundo. It's way more. It sound the flow is way better if you say a hundo, and it means the same thing, right? Keep it a hundo. Right? People say that. Respect my mind, cause every line is covered in yeah, yo, baby. Represent your city if you keep it a hundo. It's such a throwback to Bone Thugs and Harmony. It's like very obvious and like it's not that he's trying to hide this sort of thing, and even the Juicy J part that I'm talking about, it's not that he's trying to hide that, but like, yo, I mean, these like it would have just been dope. I would have just loved it if the track. I love the track so much. It's just like it would have been that it would have taken up that much of a notch if he had the actual features. If if um if Gnarls Barkley had the actual features represented. You know what I mean? Just have them show up and just like show them the track and show them what you're trying to do and just have them do their thing, man. It would have been that much more dope. So again, his rendition of Juicy J is so good that they might later update the credits. When I look up the credits, I don't see him on there, but they might update the credits and it'll show up. But that's how good his rendition is of Juicy J on that joint. So here's the honest read on Atlanta. This isn't trying to win anyone over. Gnarls Barkley knows who they are, and they know their lane, and they're doing their thing, and they're waiting on you to catch the fuck up. I've saw some reviews of people talking about they really not feeling this project, and this is just gonna have to be one of them ones that I am just on a different wave than y'all are. I think this project could be close to like freaking album of the year, album of the year type shit, and I wouldn't put a hip hop album. I'll put an album of the year because it's so genre fluid. It's so there's some hip hop tracks in here like this the this track I'm talking about here with the Yayo track, the Bully Yayo track, um, has hip hop in it. There's a couple. He's dropping bars and lines and rap in a couple of these other tracks, but this one is just so it's just so overwhelmingly like cohesive and encompassing that I could see it being an album of the year contention. But because of CeeLo's reputation as a rapper, the Academy, well, not the Academy in this case, it would be the Grammy board is going to have already a bias against that. But man, this is a beautiful project. I don't understand how some people are rating this um just like negatively. It's like so many. How many tracks on this thing? I think I hit the like button on. Yeah, so this one is yeah, there's only a couple tracks that, and just because I don't hit the like button, don't mean I don't like it. It's just like it ain't a standout like that. You know what I mean? It's like be like, okay, it's playable, it's doable, it's serviceable. But man, top to bottom, you got to run this thing from top to bottom for real, for real. This is a mature and unhurried project made by two people that know what they're doing and they're just sticking to their lane. They're sticking to their brand. It's like this is what we do. We're making music that we like, that we want to mess with. It doesn't lean on nostalgia. It doesn't try to compete with whatever's charting today. Although there's several tracks on here, line dance is another one that could be on the chart. That's radio ready right there. Line dance is radio ready, right there. It's just solid. It's just a solid project from top to bottom. It's soulful. It's the kind of album that asks you for your full attention, and it rewards it. If you just like lock in on this joint, it rewards that joint, and it's worth the listen. At least one. It's worth more than one, I think, in my opinion. But at least for you, it's at least worth one listen. This is gonna be good for maybe a late night drive. Make sure the sunroof is open on this joint, right? Or if you're going for a run, you throw them headphones on and just freaking command every step that you take. You don't necessarily need to have any particular destination. You might find yourself lost. Like, where the hell am I? I was just lost in their universe that they created. It's a creative process that rewards intentional listenership. Bottom line, Atlanta is a graceful exit, if it's an exit for a duo that never had a chance to even overstay their welcome, and somehow they managed to leave before people are gonna even be ready for. They're gonna be people are gonna be catching up to this and be like, oh, what the hell? I'm behind. And so I'm hoping that they drop another project after this. Both Danger Mouse and CeeLo are a wonderful pair. Um, they understand each other. CeeLo flows with the production that Danger Mouse creates, and I feel like Danger Mouse is just going crazy on this thing. If this is really their last hurrah, then they've earned a send off. They've earned a send off. It's warm. It's honest. It's beautifully made, and it's worth your listen. Eliza, yeah, the same artist you probably know as Eliza Doolittle is back, and she's not easing in quietly. Not at all. After 4 years without a full length release, she's dropped The Darkening Green. This is an alt R&B soul project that feels less like a comeback and more like a leveling up. Man, there is a renaissance going on in British soul, y'all, and I hope y'all tuning in and listening. This isn't the pop newcomer from the early 2010s anymore. About what, 8 years ago? About 8 years ago, Eliza decided that it wasn't her path to go the pop route. She went independent and rebranded herself, dropping the Doolittle and placing emphasis on her first name. Eliza has grown into a fully formed artist, earthy, sensual, and quietly doing her own thing on her terms. Let's talk about how this album is actually built, because the craft is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. The whole 9 track project is a co write and co production with Pharaoh and Emil. These are two producers you may recognize from working with Sampha. Love Sampha. Reviewed him in the past. Reviewed Sampha in the past. Lil Carner, who's an English hip hop artist. The relationship shows. The album has a warmth and cohesion that feels like real human connection. Sonically, it's rooted in silky bass lines, vintage funk drums, and layered harmonies, a natural evolution of the soul funk direction she's been developing since um, her, was it the last project or the project for the a sky without stars, and it's and on this she's showing that she's not afraid to go further. A few tracks you may want to sample if you're trying to just get a taste of what it's like. Anyone else? This is the second one on the project. This is Eliza's first real love song. It's written about her long-term relationship. It features chugging, slightly grungy guitars that provide a warm, distorted contrast to her otherwise airy falsetto. Cheddar comes up a couple tracks later. Don't let the title fool you. This joint is sharp. It's funky. I mean, I'm still thinking cheesy, but it's not cheesy. It's not cheesy. There's an urgent bass line that drives home the message of protecting your shimmer against those who only want to take your light to dim your light. Right. Major is another dope track on here. It's a standout for its vulnerability. It brings in this bansuri flute note that you can hear subtly in the background. Bansuri is this northern India, I believe, instrument. It's a flute, right? And this musician Hashil is on there with her, so it does a great job subtly introducing that instrument there, and it adds something generally meditative to the mix without it being like a gimmick, right? It's a track about shedding armor and self-sabotage, elevated by haunting, you know, melodies brought in by with this flute. Um, it's like it feels like a deep exhale. It's like maybe a track that's like a sonic equivalent of like a release, right? And the flute does great work in that because it is so meditative of like an instrument. Pleasure Boy is another dope one you should track out. You should check out. This is the probably going to be the most sensually attentive moment on the project. It's got an undulating disco rhythm that feels like a vintage 80s soul pop gem, perfectly showcasing her honeydew vocal delivery. The darkening green is living somewhere between dusk and midnight. It's slow without being sleepy. It's sensual without being overweight. The kind of music that feels like processing something, not dramatically, just honestly processing something. The vibe, think earthy, think soft funk grooves, warm analog textures, and the emotional clarity that never tips into melodrama. There's a thread running through it about reconnecting with nature, with yourself, with the things that actually matter. A quiet Sunday morning would be probably the best time to listen to this joint. Like, um, it's the kind of album that asks for your attention, but it doesn't demand it. It's okay existing as a soundtrack to you cooking Sunday brunch, for example. Um, it's confident, it's soulful. It's the return from an artist who clearly took her time and used it well. If you're looking for something real, textured, emotionally honest, that's not manufactured, never overproduced, this one is going to be worth your listen. Next up, we're talking about one of the most anticipated comebacks in modern soul, Yebba, and her new album, Gene. 5 years. That's how long Abigail Elizabeth Smith has been mostly off the grid, reflecting, building, finding her footing. Um, so Abigail, her actual name, Abby, her for short. So her parents called her Yebba, which is Abby backwards. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. But that's where that moniker comes from. And now she's back with a project named after her late grandmother, Jean, right? Where her debut project, Dawn, was soaked in grief, Jean is something different. It's steadier, more rooted, more free. The moment is real. She's announced her first ever headlining tour, which is a big deal for an artist who's always let the voice lead and kept the spotlight sort of at arm's length. Critics are calling this the new era, not just surviving, but fully expressing. Yeba on her own terms, finally. Let's get into the actual music because Jean is as much a producer's record as it is a vocalist showcase. It was built alongside Johnny Rooney over 5 years, so there's no rush here, no labor pressure, just time. The result is a sound that moves between folk, gospel, soul, and indie without ever feeling like it's trying too hard. Recorded in Arkansas and Dallas and Electric Lady Studios, the album has its shout out to who's that? Janelle Monáe with the Electric Lady. That one project she had. The album has this interesting dual texture, homegrown and intimate, but also warm and cinematic. Acoustic instruments, airy harmonies, arrangements that breathe. The whole thing feels less produced and more earth tone. Here's a few tracks that should give you a taste of what to look forward to. Yellow Eyes, the lead single that sets the tone. It's a folky, soulful record with thunderous claps that captures the cycle of relationships and the clarity that comes after they end. All Right. This is a raw, vulnerable standout where she explores her distaste for LA and the deep ache of missing her mother. It's the emotional heart of the record. West Memphis, this is a direct nod to her roots. It brings a grounded southern grit to the album's R&B foundation. Water and Wanderlust, this is going to be the last track on the project. It's the closer. It's a song about no more playing small, serving as a powerful anthem for anyone finally choosing themselves after years of uncertainty. There are moments on this album where she leans into rock and country textures that catch you off guard, but they work. They show an artist who's outgrown any one lane and knows it. Special mention to her gospel influences that stay intact, like on the track Waterfall, which arrived in actually 2023 because of the Drake feature. Drake had a sample of this track on Polar Opposites, which was off of the, I believe it's the For All the Dogs, the For All the Dogs album, and so you go look at the track list on Gene, you'll see that this joint has 1.5 million spins, and that's because it had an early start, from the rest of the tracks, from that run on that Drake project. I mean, say what you will, but I guess the guy has an eye for talent. So, what does Gene actually sound like and feel like? I say it feels like letting go. It feels like letting go without losing yourself. It's warm. It's folky. It's still got the gospel tinged emotion laced throughout the entire thing. This isn't an album looking for charts. It's not a trendy experience here. Yebba isn't chasing, the numbers and the algorithm. She's building a world here where healing is slow and honest, and a little bit messy. And somehow it makes it all the more beautiful. Best listen, probably, I would say, maybe a slow morning. Your coffee's going cold on the counter. This is a front to back album. It's one that's a straight playthrough. There's a couple of spots that I didn't specifically completely connect with, but it helps for the continuity of the listening experience. So definitely gotta listen to it from front to back. The sequencing is clearly intentional. It's meant to be absorbed whole. So if you have 40 minutes, it's a 40-minute project. If you have the time to listen to these 14 songs, put that aside and perhaps lock in on the first listen. And otherwise, Gene is just basically overall Yebba stepping fully into her adulthood, clear-eyed, grounded, not in a hurry. This one's worth sitting with all the way through.